Folks, welcome back. I have your latest market report for Toronto for week ending December 20th. Now, we've been doing this all year longer actually, but since we went into our first lockdown, because now we're in another lockdown. But since we went into our first lockdown back in March, we've been reporting the Toronto real estate market on a weekly basis. We've got some changes coming up, some new things that we're doing in the next couple of weeks. So please subscribe below so you don't miss out on any of the videos, any of the new changes. Hit the bell button. We'd love to also hear your comments. I've got my ideas of where I believe the market is going for 2021. At the end of this video, I'll tell you what my predictions are. Please comment below where you feel the market is going, and let's see if we can be on the same page maybe, or maybe not. I'm curious as to what your attitude is. And again, subscribe, pass this video on. We love to see people getting a lot out of these videos. Okay, let's get started. Actually, you know what? I do want to say one thing. If you've been following me, the way I look at things, the way I look at these numbers is really from an opportunity point of view. I don't see good markets or bad markets. I see where's the opportunity. So if prices are heading down, where's the opportunity for the buyer, and how can I help a seller not sell for so much lower? If prices are going up, I'm looking at how can I help a buyer not overpay, and how can I help a seller maximize what price they're selling at. So I am a full-time realtor. A lot of my comments are based on my experience working with buyers and sellers every single day. Okay, let's get started. We're talking about Toronto only here, the city of Toronto, and I'm going to talk about detached, semis, towns, and then condos. You'll definitely want to hear what's happening with condos. Okay, so detached. Over the last few weeks, sales have been trending down. Last week, we sold 143 detached properties in the city of Toronto. We're expecting sales to be trending down right now as we get into the colder months, as we get into the winter months. This is normal, and it's seasonal, normal business here, going down. No alarm here. Average sold price has been going up over the last few weeks. Now, average sold price goes up and down, up and down. We're still a little over 11% lower than we were before our first lockdown. However, if we take a step back, because remember, do not make any decisions based on what's going on a per week basis, because prices fluctuate, they go up and down. Looking at the overall trend, and I know there's a lot of hype about detached prices. However, from when we came out of the lockdown, since then, average sold price has been ever so gradually trending down. Not by much. We're still way above last year's average sold price, which I'll show you in a second, but average sold price has been coming down over the course of the year. And I know you're not going to hear that anywhere else, but these are the real numbers. And again, sales have been going down. The amount of detached homes selling at $2 million or more was 20 last week, 21 the week before, 19 the week before that. And so it's been steady around 20 over the last 3 weeks. Compared to last year, if we look at just this 1 week, we're over 21% higher than last year's average sold price for the same week ending. But we're not basing our decisions on 1 week. If we look at overall, the orange is 2020 prices, the blue are 2019 average sold prices. Overall, we're usually higher than what we were last year. And when I look at just the last few weeks here, we're 10% higher, 9% higher, 11.7% higher. This was a crazy week. We're almost 10% lower and 21% higher. If I just look at this very quickly, I'm thinking, you know what, we're 10, 11% on average higher than where we were last year, average sold price. Looking at sales, again, the blue is 2019, the orange are 2020 sales. Sales for the last few weeks have consistently been higher than where they were this time last year. And of the 143 that were sold last year, and again, just detached houses I'm talking about here, 51% sold at list price or more. So half the properties, you're competing or you're paying full price or they're selling right away. And when we look at overall sales year to date, we're 3.6% higher in sales this year than what we did last year. I know it's crazy to think, because in our first pandemic, in our first lockdown, let me say, nobody would have ever thought we'd be outpacing last year's sales. But for detached, that's where we were. That's where we are. Listings. We are listing more than what we listed last year. We do expect listings to come down. We listed 128 detached homes last year. And you're probably thinking, what, 128? Because I talk to so many sellers that'll say, you know, I'm thinking of selling. And I say, great. And they're like, yeah, I'm waiting for the spring. Nobody does any kind of business right now over the winter. Well, it's just not true. 128 detached homes were listed last week alone in the city of Toronto. Okay, months of inventory. Months of inventory is really the correlation of supply and demand. And when we look at months of inventory, it's really low. 1.5 months of inventory is very much a seller's market. Of course, anything under 4 months, we're calling a seller's market. Between 4 to 6 months is a balanced market. Over 6 months of inventory is a buyer's market. In a buyer's market, prices tend to come down. In a seller's market, the opposite. Prices tend to come up. 1.5 months is a very strong seller's market, and this is why we're seeing prices come up. If I had to make any kind of prediction, we're headed for a strong 2021 in detached housing. Semi-detached. Now, semi-detached, here's where we got to be a little bit careful. Sales are not that high. They are coming down. We sold 40 semi-detached homes last week. 6 of them were above 1.5 million or more. The average semi sold for a little over $1.1 million last week. It has been coming down over the last few weeks, and it's considerably lower than where we were before we went into our first lockdown. But the semi market, I know it seems like it's coming down, but it's pretty strong. When we look overall, once we've come out of the pandemic and we kind of normalized, since July, average sold price has been pretty even there. Compared to last year, well, if we look at the 1 week that we're in now, we're 11.4% higher than last year's average sold price. But overall, except for this one wonky week over here, we've been higher than last year's average sold price. Semis has been very strong throughout the whole year. Semi-average sold price. Sales, we're selling more than what we've sold last year. Last week we sold 40 semis. The same time last year at this time we sold only 25. Now 80% of these semis, 80% sold at list price or more. So there's not a lot of sales. Those few sales that are there, 80% you're competing with. Multiple offers, there's offer presentation days. It's a hustle to buy a semi. I can tell you why average sold price though has been coming down. Typically this time of the year, the luxury market kind of takes a step back. So it's not just for detached, it's for semis, it's for towns, it's for condos. They're really more expensive properties. There's just fewer of them on the market and fewer of them available to buy, and that tends to bring average sold price down. Compared to last year though, overall sales 5.3% higher. We've sold more semis this year than what we've sold last year, so the semi market has gone higher as far as sales go. Listings, we're listing more, almost triple the listings this year at this time than what we listed last year. There were 33 semis listed last week. Months of inventory. 1 back at the end of November, then 0.8 months, then 1 month, and last week again we're setting out 1 month of inventory. Now I know prices are coming down, but that's just because of the expensive semis are just not on the market right now. Townhouses. Again, very few sales, so let's be careful about how we kind of look at the numbers, because 1 or 2 sales one way could really affect the average sold price. But sales jumped up to 18 last week. Average sold price jumped up just under 1.1 million for the average townhouse in Toronto, which is 3% higher than when we were before our first lockdown. But overall, kind of looks like average sold price for townhouses has been creeping up over the course of the year. Compared to last year, the orange is consistently, in some weeks, way higher than we were last year for the average sold price. Sales, higher sales than last year, 6% overall year to date, 6.7% higher. More townhouses were sold this year than last year. So detached is up, semis are up when it comes to sales and prices, and townhouses are up when it comes to sales and prices. Listing, we're listing more townhouses than what we listed last year. And months of inventory, 1.3. Detached, semis, and towns, all those are very much, those markets are very much sellers market. Not by a little bit, but they're very strong sellers market. We don't expect prices, my prediction for those is we don't expect prices to be coming down. We expect prices to continue to go up in those markets. Let's talk about condos. This is it's so interesting, all the controversy, all the naysayers. I know what all the headlines are saying out there, how the condo market has crashed. I know a lot of you are talking about it collapsing. Where? If you're talking about other parts of Canada, maybe. But if you're talking about the city of Toronto, what I'm showing you here are real factual numbers, not for tomorrow, but in our rearview mirror. These numbers have already happened. So, sales. Over the last 4 or 5 weeks, sales have been going up week after week after week after week. Last week, we sold 254 condos in the city of Toronto. It's by no means a record, but the trend is people seem to be jumping back onto the I want to buy a condo attitude. The amount of condos sold at 1 million or more was 11 last week. Average sold price has been going up. If we go back just for a few weeks, it was 610,000. Now it's 622,000. Not a huge change, but even if it's a little, it's going up, it's not going down. It's not going in the direction a lot of you that are on the sidelines, money in hand, ready to buy, it's not going into the direction you're thinking it's going, or that you hear other people talking about that it's going. So, average sold price, again, has been going up, still much lower than where we were before our first lockdown. But sales are up, I keep repeating, average sold price has been going up. It's consistent right now for a few weeks. Compared to last year, some weeks were lower, some weeks were higher. We've been over the last 3-4 weeks consistently lower, between 5 and 7% lower than last year, but we shortened the gap a little the previous week by 3.3% lower. Last week we're 0.7% lower. It's pretty close to where we were last year's average sold price. Sales. We were selling less than last year, less than last year, less than last year. This week we surpassed what we did last year at this time. Maybe the condo market is a late bloomer. It's been taking a beating. However, we sold more condos this year in this week, December 20th, than we did last year. 20% of those were sold at list price or more. We are 9.5% behind last year's sales when it comes to condos. So it's the only market segment, condos, that has sold underperformed from last year's sales. Listings. Okay, so we do expect listings to come down. They did that last year. They're doing it this year. We expect that. However, active listings is coming down. And active listings are the amount of condos available for sale. And we compared that with how many we're buying. that gives us months of inventory. So picture this. Sales, I'm just looking at the orange now, sales are going up week after week. Active listings are coming down, where like 9-10 weeks ago we were at 5,800 active listings. We're now at 3,668 active listings. Months of inventory over the last few weeks has been coming down. We were in a buyer's market, then we went into a balanced market. Now we're sitting more in a seller's market. Look, when it comes to condos, there's such a wide array of choices. There's still a lot of condos available for sale, and prices can go either way. Anything could change at any moment. But the pulse right now, buyers are starting to jump back in and buy. And if they buy up some of these condos that are for sale, that's going to bring months of inventory lower. That's going to put an upward pressure on price. So here's something you're going to hate to hear. If you're one of the people on the sidelines trying to time the market, I'm going to buy it when it's rock bottom, there's a chance you already missed it. This could continue to keep going up. And if we start 2021 the way we started this year, where out of Christmas and New Year's, people just went like gangbusters. The market just went crazy, people buying. You've missed the bottom, is what I'm telling you. That's kind of where I'm at, where I feel overall the market is going to be for 2021. That's my prediction. Whatever you saw this year, it's going to go up from there. I expect detached to get higher, semis, towns. I expect condos. If they do come down, it won't be by much, and I expect a quick recovery. I expect prices to be higher next year, activity to be higher next year. I expect sales to be higher next year. That's my prediction, but that's just a prediction. That's a guess. If we look at what's actually happening in the condo, prices are going up. You might have already missed the bottom. This is for this year, 2021. This is our last Toronto report. We're going to skip next Tuesday, and the following Tuesday, the first Tuesday in 2021, is our next report for the City of Toronto. I want to say thank you for following us all year long. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing this video. Those of you that call me and ask for real estate help to help you buy and sell, I really appreciate the business. And I just want to say have an awesome Christmas, no matter how it looks like. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Be safe, and we'll see you on the other side of 2021. The other side of 2020, which is 2021. Happy Holidays.